Welcome back to episode 35 of the People's Champ podcast. This is our end of year review. In January, we did a wish list for what we want to see in Hearthstone in this year. And now we're going to go back, listen to it, and react to what we asked for and see if we got any of what we wanted, all of what we wanted, or absolutely none of what we wanted. We are joined with the same guest we had in January, and that is Bynx. How you doing, Bynx?
I'm doing really good. How are y'all doing?
We're great.
So good.
I don't think we're doing as great as you over there in Marvel Snapland.
Yeah, it's been really cool. I already wasn't playing Hearthstone that much when we did the initial podcast, but now I've kind of fully switched to the brand new game Marvel Snap, and it's been a lot of fun. Been streaming it, playing it like every single day, and just having a ton of fun with it. So it'll be fun to kind of look at some retrospective. And I follow Hearthstone a little bit still, so it's going to be really fun to talk with you guys about what happened this year and everything.
We're going to start off with a trivia segment, Bynx, before we jump into this. The way it's going to work is me and Vaapad each have a question. Whoever asks the question is going to ask the other two. If the other two can answer it correctly, that guest gets a point. If they can't, the questioner gets a point. So you're just kind of helping. It's like host v host competition, and you're just helping out the person answering both times. Pod, you want to ask yours first, or shall I?
I can ask mine first. So my question for y'all is, which class has access to the most uniquely named hero powers in the game?
My first instinct is Mage, because they got Amazing Reno separate from the others. But you also have to think of like Dinomancy and the like Weapon and Shaman that gives you a hero power. And then there's Shadow Form.
Yeah. Oh, Rogue.
We're versing him.
It's got to be Rogue.
You think it's Rogue?
Rogue can get all 9 hero powers.
What?
Rogue can get access to all 9 hero powers. Well,
every class can with Flirt. Wait, what? Pronounced Darkness can get everything. I think he means like in the class specific hero powers. Like Rogue hero powers.
To be clear, I mean just you gain access to.
Gain access to. You could renounce Darkness into every hero power and every card in the game, can't you?
Same thing with Sir Finley, right?
Right, but you can also get like the weapons and stuff that would give you, or Dinomancy from Renounce Darkness. I thought he meant like you would play a rogue card and then, or like use rogue cards to get new hero powers.
Well, you can get all of the starting rogue hero powers. You can get all the starting even hero, or you can get all the starting odd hero powers with rogue through that one. What's
Maestro,
the one card?
You get all the even.
I guess you can only get the even ones, so you can't get the odd ones.
I mean, that's a lot.
You can steal the hero power with whatever.
I mean, those are neutral cards that steal hero powers. I don't.
Oh, that's also true.
I don't understand
the point of clarification will be, so like in your example, like Warlock Renounce Darkness can get you the starting hero powers, but you can't like get multiple steps removed. Finley counts because it's one card to get you the hero power.
Can't play a card that would get you a card. I mean, in that case, it doesn't have any other cards that get you hero powers. And if Finley counts, then wait, no, Rogue's not correct, because every class can do the Maestro thing. Although they couldn't do the Maestro again thing.
So if that's the case, maybe it is Paladin then, because they have the Finley card that can get you all of the odd hero powers as well.
Yeah, Highlander can get you all the odds. This is a weird question if Finley counts, like breaking.
It is a weird question. I don't know. I would say that I kind of like your reasoning. My answer I think would be Paladin, because of Finley being able to get all the odd hero powers. You can use other Finley to get all of the regular hero powers. You can obviously get the Death Knight. You can get their normal hero powers. That would be my best guess, but I do agree it's kind of weird. So I guess I'm really excited to hear the reasoning behind whatever the true answer is.
Is there a card that generates your hero powers that we're missing? I don't think so. Like every class has, I mean, to rule out Demon Hunter, every class has a Galakron, every class has a Knights of the Frozen Throne, every class has an Alterac Valley, but Finley gets more hero powers than any like one-off like Shadow Form type card. So I guess we'll just say Paladin. That's fine.
Paladin, lock it in.
We'll go Paladin.
All right, so this got way more complicated than I was thinking about, because I didn't actually think about Finley of the Sands.
Oh gosh.
You outthought the question.
Yes. So I think based on how I worded the question, I think that you would be right. Here's what I did though. So I went on the wiki and I looked at all of like the class available hero powers. Based on that, it's Warrior.
Oh, because of like Dr. Boom.
Because of Dr.
Well, that's
Boom.
only counting class cards. Right.
Well,
I wouldn't count Finley.
But Finley evens out though.
Oh, that's true.
Right?
Yeah, because everyone can get it.
Every neutral card evens out except for...
So you're talking about class-specific hero powers then.
Except for Major Domo Executus, ironically. Because
every class can play that.
Every class can play it, but Warrior doesn't benefit from it because it's got the Sulfurous. So it's the exact same hero power with the exact same name, so it doesn't get double counted.
So your question was just class specific hero powers then, which would have ruled out new like the Highlander Finley, because you're getting upgraded normal hero powers.
But you know what that means, right, Jordan? We're technically correct.
Yeah, we get a point,
is the best form of correct. And
technically correct. That is okay.
Turns out I should think about how to word my questions better.
Honestly, it takes a lot. Like I have been wrong on many Jeopardies because of the wiki and like what I assumed was a solid question, and then the wiki just, you gotta be really specific. It's a learning curve for sure.
You want to know what the second one is?
What?
Shaman.
Shaman. I mean, that checks out.
The Stormhammer,
Can.
right?
Brukan gets a lot.
Can gets 4, yeah.
Brukan gets 4.
Remember, you guys remember that
Yes,
Stormhammer?
that is the
card?
weapon I kept mentioning
Yeah.
from Shaman. That gets 2 hero power every time.
Yeah.
That was like the first thing I thought of for some reason.
Charge hammer.
I like went
Look
for
at
the
that.
hardest, most obscure thing first in my brain. All right, well, my question's a bit different. So
Love it.
that's fine. You get different sauces here. There is one card in Hearthstone and one card only that contains the word himself in all caps. What is that card?
It's one of the injured cards. It's either injured Blademaster or something like that. I think.
Yeah.
I feel like for whatever reason in my head I see himself in caps and I think it is just injured Blademaster, but I'm not 100% sure. That's just the first thing that popped in my head.
That does make a lot of sense to me. My other thought is it maybe injured Cavalier?
Mm-hmm. Did one of them come out first, or they come out in the same set?
Blademaster was classic, and Cavalier was like Nex or something, or Goblins or something.
Cavalier, is that the 1 mana 2/4?
Yeah.
Okay, so we know it's not that
That's
because
the
we
grand
didn't know
tournament.
what it was.
That was in my Jeopardy.
Okay.
I'm just throwing you.
That was a point of contention in the Jeopardy.
But yeah, because the question was wrong, so I forgot that card existed.
But yeah, that's my guess would be injured Blademaster then, because it's a classic card. Classic had some funny wordings. It had some like funny, like humorous wordings, and then they've like I feel like slowly pulled away from stuff like that. Like remember Charge with like 11 R's for that one pirate card?
Dude, they did a card like that in the
Yeah.
newest expansion. It warmed my heart. They
Did
haven't
they
done
really?
it. Yeah, I feel like
Which
they haven't done it in so long. I don't remember it. I have to look, but there was one that was like a neat text box like that, and I was like, yes.
I do always get really happy when they just do those
The
like
5 R's
funny
is a
little
fave
clips and
as
stuff. Yeah.
It's a classic.
We'll lock in injured Blademaster.
Lock it in.
You are correct.
Let's go.
An even split, both correct.
Bynx is a goat.
Dude, you guys very graciously didn't do any cards from last year, which helped me out a lot.
I mean, you would have missed.
I don't know why. I was just like,
Alterac.
dude, I was so sure about injured Blademaster for whatever. I just
Yeah.
remember so clearly. I've always looked at that card and say like,
It's so
why does it
bizarre.
say himself
Yeah,
in all
and
caps?
not
It's
this
like
minion.
really aggressive.
It is strange.
That's a really neat trivia, though.
Yeah, this is a great one.
Got lots of little guys hiding around.
Little guys, Jeopardy master over here with his trivia questions.
Yeah, pretty good at it, I guess.
I try.
Did you apply to be like the new like regular Jeopardy host?
Oh, I think they're doing all right with who they get.
Yeah, I guess. You can always improve.
I'm waiting for the day where Jordan gets big enough that he gets invited to some of this community stuff. Be sweet.
That's far away. Far, far away.
Maybe.
Sure, it's
Maybe
less far than you think.
not. Yeah.
Well, it depends. I was trying to find this card that I thought I remembered. Dude. I think one of a good example is Scourge Rager. Have you seen Scourge Rager? The new
I've not.
Rager? It's a 3 mana 5/4. Up the stats on the Rager card. It's got a Reborn, and its battle cry is die. So it's a 3/1.
Oh, so it's like it is like corpse.
Yeah,
Kinda
it's just a
synergy
magma
type
bridge.
stuff?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
synergy.
Corpse Synergy.
And if you cheat it out somehow, I guess it gets added. But...
Jungle Giant Synergy.
Die.
Battle cry,
Giant
die.
Synergy. Wait, is it a neutral card or is
Yeah,
it
it's the 3 mana neutral.
Actually,
Comic card.
you're not wrong that it is pretty solid
Battle cry.
Jungle Giant
Die.
Synergy.
Without further ado, we're going to get into Bynx's number 5 that he wanted for the year.
Yeah, let's
So
see what's on your
take a
wish
listen.
list, dude.
Okay, so my fifth one I was pretty open about. I don't know if too many people who you were watching know who I am, but I don't play Hearthstone that much. I like it really cracked out on it. I play a lot of off meta decks, and I play almost exclusively Wild. I used to play a lot of Arena back then. But one thing that I would really like to see is balance changes to make value decks more viable in
You
Wild.
madman.
Because I feel like when I first started playing Wild, maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago, you could still kind of get away with playing a lot of value decks and doing pretty well. You know, I was throwing deck stock Rexar in decks, playing decks that are just really made to gather up resources. And outside of like some of the Druid decks that have come to prominence with Guff, getting that 20 mana crystals and everything, and using like the new Cthulhu, I just felt like value decks just really don't have the viability that they can.
So
Have
I
you
guess we
heard
get to
of my
blame Bynx
friend
for
Renathal?
Renathal. I guess we get to blame Bynx for the
For
absolute
the
nonsense
profit?
that he's brought to us.
I was about to
Absolute
say.
profit? Let's go.
You got your wish, man, and then you
Bynx
left the
blessed
game.
us.
This is why you
Bynx
don't listen to
blessed us.
players.
So tell me a little bit about your thoughts on Renathal, because I left literally like I stopped playing literally I think like a month before Renathal hit, and that's kind of all I heard about from people in the Hearthstone scene, and I haven't really played with it. I've watched some like YouTube videos of people playing those decks, but it does seem like it draws the game out a decent bit.
Mhm.
I'm gonna guess a lot of people have very negative or mixed opinions on it, as it also like kind of just makes some decks just feel unbeatable sometimes. So what are your guys' thoughts on Renathal and how the value meta has actually like affected your gameplay?
Oh,
We have
so
different
we are
opinions.
very split on this podcast about Renathal. Probably the best thing to happen to Hearthstone, in my opinion. It's been amazing this year. I've
a
gotten
big
to
fan.
play slow greedy decks. It slots right into Odd Warrior, the best deck in the world.
Jeez.
But I'll turn it over to Jordan because he feels significantly stronger about it than I do, in the opposite direction.
I mean, Renathal is not really like what I dislike. It's the combination of Renathal and the worst Hearthstone card ever printed. Now that Alucia is gone, and Theatar, like when you add 10 extra cards and 10 extra life, you get these fun, longer value games, which is good. Generally, it's healthier. But then what it ends up doing is you get like at the bare minimum like three slots or so. I mean, you could say 10, but realistically, you get like 3 slots where you can just chuck in cards that can scam games. Like when you have 40 cards, who cares? You have a 1 of Theatar in there. Like sometimes you're just gonna scam the game the moment you play them. So like if those cards didn't exist, Renathal would be fine with me. It'd be chill, like whatever. But like the fact that you can just shove in all these lame like neutral tech cards that just scam games, just like a different form of cheese than like something like super aggressive combo, kind of bothers me. Like because Reno Priest is like became like the best deck again because you get to shove in Rat and Mutanus and Theatar and like you just don't die because you're at 40 life and you have Reno and stuff. And so like it was just annoying a lot of the times. The meta has changed so much that you can't play anything anymore that insta loses to that kind of scam because just you can play it in everything. And that's your faster. Thankfully though they've nerfed Theatar twice, which is great.
Do you think it
Big
needs
fan of
a
that.
third time?
I mean, I would like it.
I think
to
the
be
card
nerfed
just
a third
fundamental.
time.
The fact that you can discover a card, I feel
The
like
card's
makes it
just
kind of fundamentally
too good
broken.
for neutral.
Because I guess I did come back for a little bit, and I played some Even Shaman that had Theatar at 4 with that new Totem card.
There's a lot of new totem cards.
Well, what are the Totem Shaper,
right.
the one with the +2?
Oh yeah, +2
Yeah,
attack and everything.
right.
Yeah, your cards are.
The second Theatar nerf was heartbreaking for me.
Yeah, he liked playing an Odd Warrior.
An Odd Warrior. Yeah, I bet it's
Yeah.
cracked an Odd Warrior.
Probably
Not
was.
really, but it was enjoyable, and it
Right.
gave me some. It gave me some scams against decks I shouldn't have had any game into.
Right, yeah. That's the thing. They've said it so many times about like neutral tech cards. Like when tech cards become too good, it's a problem. They've said it so much that like you want it to be just good enough that people who like it can play it. And like Theatar and like all the Lucian stuff just cross those lines. So I'm glad they finally nerfed it. But it's crazy that card like existed at 4 minutes.
I would genuinely prefer if they nerfed it again to 7.
He wants to play it Odd Warrior that bad. I'm all for it. Make it a 7 mana 4/4 or 5/5. I don't care.
7 mana 5/5.
Just get it out, dude. Make it a 7 mana 1/1. I think the fact that it's still seeing play when it gets nerfed just kind of illustrates my point that it's just a different form of cheese. A lot of players say it's like the answer to cheese because you can like use it to stop like the pillager rogue type deck, which people have a valid reason to dislike. But at the end of the day, like my only argument is just like they're both cheese. I would prefer both get changed, but it's wild, right? Like you can only hope for so much. So it's like, yeah, let's just get rid of Theatar, sure. Let standard players Denathragus. I also think it's funny. You got your wish on value, and you specifically mentioned Rexar, which is currently playable in standard Hearthstone.
What?
The Knights of the Frozen Throne set was added to the core set for a month to like celebrate the upcoming expansion. So you can just play Rexar in standard right now with
Hey,
Renathal.
that's dope, man. And there's a new like Rexar card coming out, right? The 2/2.
There's a
That
neutral
card's
2/2
dope.
that crafts a zombie.
Two of in every hunter deck forever, but probably not for people who want to be competitive. But you know, the real ones know the 2 of in every hunter deck.
Of course. Of course.
Well, you got your wish there. I think that's fair to say.
Love it.
There's still some degenerate decks, but you definitely got a lot more value.
Bynx is 1 for 1. Let's go to mine. My number 5. My number 5, I think I mentioned it last year even, but it's add the reward track to the mega bundle. You're already paying so much money. Just get rid of a cosmetic in there and put in the reward track. I don't care about that, you know? I just want it.
Swing and a miss, but not surprised. To be
Yeah,
honest.
for a second consecutive year. I have swung and missed on that one.
One of us must have put like we want more different currencies in the game, right? Because that's obviously what everyone wants, right? It's just to add
Different
additional types
currencies.
of currency. Everyone loves when there's more currency in
I mean,
video
it doesn't
games.
actually seem to matter. It's just annoying when things don't cost the amount that the runestones are purchasable in. But at least it's not like there's a pro and a con to like I don't know if you've seen the prices on runestones, but there's no bundling at all. So if you buy 500, 10 times it's the same price as if you buy 5,000. Like you don't get a little bit off by buying a bunch in bulk, which is something you'd get in like a different type of game that does that, like a League of Legends or a Smite or something.
To try and incentivize you to just spend more and more.
The
Yeah,
pros
which is
if you
kind
buy
of
in bulk and then end up actually using it all, it's like better for you. And then you get like more punished if you buy things one at a time. And then the con is like you don't get punished for just like buying things as you want them in Hearthstone.
Will say I used to really love in Hearthstone that there was just dust and gold, and then there was that update with like the achievement tracks and everything where it added the XP and that fake currency that I still don't think they've ever done anything with. And I was like literally seething, like shaking, looking at my screen, like looking at all these currencies popping up, like whoa, why? Who wanted this, man?
No, achievements are cool. I don't personally hunt them, but I get the appeal.
Yeah,
Something
the
fun to do.
achievements aren't too bad.
Eh.
I am somewhat upset about this, about the Battle Pass not being added to the Mega
I
Bundle.
mean, you kind of got your wish. They did add Path of Arthas to the the Mega Bundle, which is like a whole mini set for free. The Mega Bundle. So the Mega Bundle
Right.
kind of got better. It also
Yeah,
kind of got
I
worse
mean-
with signature cards.
Yeah, so
Although I don't
mean,
think it's that bad. I think those are a side grade.
needless to say, this is something I will continue to want, but it probably will not make my list in the next version of our wish list.
All right, let's see what my
tragically.
number 5 is. See if I'm joining the Bynx train of swinging or the pod train of missing. All right, my number 5 is kind of a recent thing, which is why it's my number 5. And essentially right now, as of January 16th, 2020, there was a lot of like complaining and just negativity and just like frustration with the wild format in certain decks. And while these feelings are valid, they're not really supported by the stats. And so it's just a really weird time where it's like, for the last like 5 years, all wild has gotten is changes to tier S and they trimmed off the top. That's it. And right now, people really want to change their up. Like they're complaining more than ever about like Odd Hunter and Pirate Warrior and stuff. And the stats, like they're not at all tier S. Like back in the Demon Seed when we got changes, right? There was 2 Warlock decks in tier S, a couple decks in tier 2, and everything else was tier 4. It was awful, right? There was like hardly even a meta report. It was just play Warlock or you're stupid, right? And like 2 decks that could kind of compete. The last meta report, Tempo Storm Pardal, had 4 tier 1 decks, 5 tier 2 decks, 14 or something. That number is not exact. 14 or so tier 3 decks, and 4 tier 4 decks. You could play like 20 decks right now and win games in Wild Hearthstone. We have it so good, relatively speaking, to like pasts of Wild, but yet the complaining and like just the frustration of like Pirate Warrior and Odd Hunter is so high. What am I talking? There was no wish list. I was just ranting. There was no wish there.
There was a bit rambling.
I didn't ask for anything. I was just rambling.
That's negativity.
There's a lot to unpack there.
That was just
So the-
absurd. I was just shaking my head the whole
So
time.
true.
I don't know what am I talking about. I mean, it was great take.
You wanted less negativity.
I agree with the take, but I don't know why I put that on a wish list.
I would love to hear just your hearing that straight up from what you said and thinking about probably where your head was at right then and then to where your head is at right now. What do you feel is like the difference? Like, do you feel like things have gotten better? Feel like they've gotten worse?
I was thinking about it as I was talking. In terms of the negativity, like there's still big priest hate, but in general,
And Neptulion just seems ridiculous.
there's been big deck hate,
Yeah, all year.
generally speaking. But like those are also decks that then get fixed because they're just like stupid. The only outlier currently that I complained about is like big priest, where it's not that good, but the high roll is stupid, obviously. But like I don't think people hate on Wild as much, and like I don't think there's many people that are like trying to be cool by like hating the game, which is nice, I guess.
I would agree with that.
Maybe it's 'cause they have Snap to
I think
play now?
there's
I don't know.
probably a little bit less rage baiting going on Twitter.
Yeah, it was just a really lame period, so it was ranting. I guess it was just boring community time to be alive.
I was sitting on it like earlier when you were talking about Theatar, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great because it's like because you were complaining about Theatar and Renathal, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, neither of those cards
So-
existed at the time of that. We're talking about Odd Hunter and Pirate Warrior. Unplayable decks, so bad now, so weak.
Yeah, absolutely.
We should probably move on because I didn't really wish for anything there. I guess I don't know. I'm gonna say I got my wish. I don't know. Did I? That's up for the viewers to decide. Really, I don't know.
That's super subjective.
Yeah, tell
Yeah,
us
I
in the
didn't- I
comments.
didn't wish
Tell us
for
in the
anything.
comments if you got it right.
All right, Bynx is number 4.
Number 4, I would say, would be more legendary spells and weapons. I think that the legendary spells and weapons that they add are usually pretty unique as long as they balance them. And I feel like always having legendaries be minions was something that I really liked when they got kind of some refreshing changes by adding like a full set of spells, a full set of, weapons and things like that. And I think that as they're building new expansions, adding different things like that and finding more unique ways to give classes tools, I've always found to be like a positive aspect of what they add to Hearthstone. So I'd love to see if they continue pushing that. I love what they've been doing recently by just having like 1 or 2 legendary spells and weapons and inclusion to like minions. Maybe even more than just like having a full set of weapons and spells, because then sometimes they like have to shoehorn things. So yeah, I would love if they just continue to expand on that, offer more legendary spells, more legendary weapons, more unique ways to get tools for each class.
Dude, Bynx can't miss.
Yeah, they've
This
added
can't
a
miss.
pretty good amount of ones this year, right?
Dude, we got the first neutral spell. And it was a
Oh yeah,
legendary
the
spell.
soul, whatever
We
it
got-
was, the sun one.
Yeah, we got legendary weapons, legendary spells.
I'm
New
happy to
hero
see that.
cards
Like,
this year. I
What
think.
legendary weapons did we get this year?
Well, we're getting a new one in the new set with Demon Hunter.
That's fair.
I don't know if we got
yeah,
any
that
others.
card's really cool. That's the one that's like it like package like put your things in, like a
Start
little,
a game, put
little
yeah.
package.
It's like for like the spell hunter archetype, but like you can run through minions now, and they're like giving that archetype to Demon Hunter. I feel like we got another legendary weapon. Did we not? Maybe not. Alterac Valley. No, can't think of anything. But yeah, I mean we've definitely gotten legendary spells.
Oh, we got the
and-
Sunwell. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting unique things. So
I love that they're doing that. Like, yeah, I still really like that take because I think that it is anytime something like that, like I don't know, I one of the few like Death Knight cards I've really looked at is that new, or not Death Knight, but from the new expansions, that Demon Hunter card, because it's like so unique, and they usually save those very unique, very game changingly powerful effects for the legendary cards, and when they were so strict with it only being minions, it really kind of limited their own design space, and it seems like especially now, yeah, doing a neutral legendary spell, they're trying to open that up, and I think I think it's gonna be universally loved by the community. I can't imagine too many people were like get rid of this.
I think another good supporting side of your point is like you wanted like more of the unique things and to continue doing the unique things. And normally they release like a keyword every expansion, but in Nathria we got like a new card type in locations, which I think works hand in hand.
Very
and
true.
for me personally, I didn't expect to love locations. They're like my favorite cards in Hearthstone. The ones that target specifically. If they don't target, they're crap. I don't care about them. But like targeting a shellfish with a hedge maze, or like I guess I don't hate the rogue one, but it's like not like having the target on the location is so satisfying. Like the druid one and the priest
one, the warrior one.
Yeah, I don't play the shaman or warrior, but they're all right. They're like probably the mid tier. But I really enjoy the ones that like you target and like because you can just kind of leave it around.
Were sigils this year? Or were sigils end of last year?
Sigils were
like
they did one this year and they did one last year. Like
gotcha.
they're
like
just kind of like a recurring thing for demon hunters.
Or like the zero mana heal 2 things.
Oh, they're the delayed. They're the delayed spells.
Oh, the delayed
demon hunter.
Yeah, that seems to just be a mechanic demon hunter has.
I'm pretty sure it is.
They just keep getting those, I think. Well, I don't know actually. When was the last sigil?
The big demon one, the 5 mana one that summons. That was this year. I don't know when.
Yeah. Sigil of Summoning was Barrens. Sigil of Flame was also Barrens. Sigil of Alacrity was Stormwind. Sigil of Reckoning was Alterac Valley.
Alterac Valley was this year.
And All Fell Breaks Loose is kind of similar in that way. Very fun card. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the only one I don't target that I'm a big fan of is Demon Hunter. I'm a huge fan of the Relic package. I never expected to actually play it because I'm a wild player.
It's fun.
I'm doing a challenge on my Twitch right now where I'm trying to win a game of Hearthstone with every card. And so I played the relics, and those things slap, dude. Those are fun. The first one you play is like underwhelming, and then they're just sick.
When they got buffed, that was fun. They're just fun.
They're super fun. If you haven't tried those, you should. They're great.
Oh, I've played way too many of the relics.
Bynx has got 2. Good for him.
Yeah,
nailed it.
2 for 2. Let's see if he can keep the streak alive. But first, let's see if I missed again. My number 4. So they've mentioned this, that this is coming. I just want it to happen this year. So this was my number 4. I want the upgrade to golden feature. I think that's really cool.
Smart way to predict things that'll happen if you ask for something that's confirmed to happen.
Well, they didn't know it was this year, right? They just said, because they do stuff like that, don't they? Where they say like, yeah, this is coming, and then it's like 3 years later, it's like,
could be tournament
where's
mode,
tournament mode, dude?
I think it's really funny because I left it in where Jordan flamed me by saying
think what I just said.
The exact thing you just said. But I cut the part right after it. And the part right after it was Bynx saying, "But what about tournament mode?"
Oh, that's amazing. We're just a broken record. Oh, we're a great broken record.
Look at us. The narrative never changes. But we got it.
We did.
Let's go.
I have not used it once yet.
You haven't even used it?
You haven't used it? Yeah, that's funny.
It's one of your number 4 thing you wanted this year.
Another reason why you should never listen to players.
Yeah, whatever. This is fine.
Players don't know what they want. Example 9087. We got a new feature, Bynx.
I'll use it one day.
Hey, are you going to use the reroll feature? I'm a big fan of that one.
What's the reroll feature?
So, like, you know how, like, say, like, Blade Master Samurai, for example, you'd, like, get the diamond on, like, the Tavern Pass, but then you could, like, open the regular, and that kind of blows. Feels bad. So now if you have a diamond of a card, or a gold of a card, or a signature of a card, and you open, like, a version below it, you can hit a button that will re-roll it into a equal card of value in that set. So if you have like the signature card of something and you open the regular legendary version of it, you can re-roll it into a random legendary that you don't own from that expansion.
Nice.
So it's not perfect. Like in a perfect world, you could just disenchant it and get full dust refund. But
they've done that before, though. They've
well,
done
for
that
like
when they had stuff on the battle pass.
They do that, yeah. But now this is for signature cards. There's another layer to it where it's like it just feels gross in a game that's so expensive to have multiple copies of the same card. Like in different versions. Like as soon as I got my Diamond Lothab, I disenchanted the regular one because it's just like 400 free dust, and I'll just play the one I can't get rid of. But now I'll be able to reroll, I believe, the inferior version, which is whatever. I mean, ideally you'd be able to just enchant for full value if that happened, like your signatures or whatever. But it's okay. But I'm a sweet fan of that because like if the goal is to have like cards, that's great. Like I just have more cards.
Yeah.
If the goal is to have specific cards because you're like super free to play, it's kind of a bummer. But I just want cards, you know. So, and no one's talking about it probably because it's like underwhelming. But I think it's just one of those things that they always like kind of throw us a bone with like a quality of life. And this is just like a strict upgrade of the current system. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
All right. I'm batting 500. It's headed George.
So my number 4, we basically already talked about it, but it's low for a
Hmm.
couple of reasons. It's a new mode. I want a new mode. I think Wild is getting to a point where, like, unironically, you actually can play a smaller percentage of your collection than you can in Standard because of just how few things. Right now is a bad example of that, but that's essentially the idea. Is that, like, if it gets to a point, like Martian was thinking about, if it gets to a point where I can play more of my collection in Standard than Wild, why on earth would I play Wild? It's like, so you can play with the specific old cards that are good, I guess, but ideally you'd have a format somewhere in the middle where you can play your old stuff that isn't as good, and not only are you able to play old stuff that's just really good, and then you'd be able to play PM Mage and all of its degeneracy and Wild. But the reason it's 4 is I'm not actually sure that's a good idea, because you split the player base, and then you have this Wild players and this miscellaneous name here, middle mode players and Standard players, and I don't know if that's actually good.
I mean, I think the idea is terrible, but it would be fun. But yeah, the splitting of the player base and like the content and everything, I think it's a disaster. Was Mercenaries this year? Did they
How
get a
many
new mode?
people do you think
That's what I
play
was about
Classic?
to ask. I think it was last year.
People play
I think it was
Classic?
end of last year, yeah.
No, not that many.
Dude, it's got to be like no one plays Classic now, right?
There's, I think, more play it now than when it came
It'd
out.
be very easy to check. Just check
Interesting.
legend leaderboards.
Well, yeah, you can see how many legends there are. You can't see how many people are playing it, but yeah.
Right.
You can check the Classic leaderboard now. There are currently already 370 people in Legend on day 2.
In Classic?
317, yeah. Let's check Wild Americas. 219.
What? There's more people at grinding Classic than grinding Wild?
I guess so.
I would wager that that's true this month, particularly because all of the Wild streamers did the theory crafting thing all of yesterday.
Well, maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't
Like
know that
Martian's
that
not
many
Wild
people,
yet,
though.
when he normally would be, right?
For contrast, wait, I mean, maybe the
last
website
month.
just
Last
maybe
month.
the website sucks, but Standard says only top 272. So apparently Classic is more popular than that too.
And Classic's just the most popular format. And
Yeah.
we're all just sleeping on it.
But you can look at last month, right? So like you could go to
That's true. I can go to season 109. Classic had 1721 finishers. Wild had way more than that, I'm sure, but I know for
Probably
sure
like
it did. I finished higher than
2,500.
that. 3568 in Wild.
30. Oh wow.
And Standard
Half the amount of people.
had
15, 20.
10.26. So like, I mean, Classic's really not that dead. Like, it's small, but it's not like dead. People still play it.
That's just I don't understand.
I think there's been like some
want to play it at all,
small,
but I mean, you know, there's plenty of World of Warcraft, for instance. Like I look at anyone who's ever played World of Warcraft, I'm just like, I don't understand why you'd want to invest more than 15 minutes in it. It's just the way that my brain works and what I like. So you know, anytime I look at something like that, I'm often surprised, and it just gives you an idea of how different people enjoy different things, which is a cool thing.
But so to your point, Bynx, I think that I would love if I could just like go to 2017 and play Ungoro or KFT or Witchwood metas, like all that sort of stuff. I'd like go to like the standard of that year and just play that, or the wild of that year or whatever, but like be able to like exclude things. Rotating format seems more fun to me just because it's a more unique deck building challenge, and you get to like still stay plugged into like the new cards coming out. But I mean I've always been a proponent of more ways to play.
I'm not
That's why I like
sure.
Wild is because like kind of get best of both worlds, right? Like you can still play any of the old cards that you wanted to play, but then you still get new toys.
Except for the ones.
Well, you say that, but I've in the last 2 days I've played a lot of Hearthstone because I've just had time, and it took me 6 or 7 hours to get 5 ranked wins in Wild because I wanted to play cards I wanted to play. So I was playing jank, but like normally you can play jank at 8x and win games
I
occasionally.
think that's true. I wonder what you were. You must have had really bad jank. All right, so who's that? My wish. I already forgot what it was, but it was stupid.
It was a new mode.
Yeah, I feel the same way I do now. Is like, is the con of splitting the player base actually relevant at all? What a new mode? Would I even like a new mode? I have no idea. But I think the rotating thing Andrew likes is solid. I think it was just really empathetic. I was like wishing for other people's wishes on this. It was like first 2 were otters. I was like, yeah, let him play girl, and then it's like let Andrew play rotating mode. I'm just advocating for other people with this wish list. Let's go to Bynx's third.
Okay, 3, and you guys might have this in there as well. This is another thing.
Doubt it.
This is another thing that has been asked about a lot and said that it was going to happen and then reverted that it's not going to happen. I would love to see in-client tournament mode. I think in-client tournament mode would be really cool, especially if they set it up properly, where instead of like just going down and saying, hey, I'm going to grind ladder, hey, I'm going to try and just join this open, 16-person tournament and like see if I can like beat, all these different people. And it helps, I think it would help grow the competitive community if they have an innate way to do it within the system that is just set up so it just kind of works, where you upload decks, I know that it would take a lot of dev work. I don't even understand how they would set it up on the back end. But I think that it would be really, really cool if they did make an investment into that, because it would give people an additional way to play, and it would help improve the competitive scene and make it more accessible, so there'd be more tournaments.
Wow.
Well, we're due for a miss, right?
I mean, you really shot high on that tournament mode. Tournament mode, lol, as always.
I don't know. I feel like they've done some things to the like challenge system, but I can't remember. Maybe I'm gaslighting myself. Yeah, you certainly didn't get a tournament mode though.
In Marvel Snap, you can't even challenge a friend yet. So, you know, I know it's like stuff like that just takes times, and there's many things on the back end, which is probably why it got put off. I'm sure they put a bunch of like work into it, and they were just like, well, you know, every step that we take forward, we're finding that we need to take 6 more steps forward to actually solve the problem that we thought we were going to take. I feel like that happens sometimes in like development cycles. I still think it would be cool. I think that being able to have access or be able to throw a tournament without having to like set up all this back stuff, create Google Docs, contact people directly, you know, would be really nice for community members.
My number 3 is a rotating format, so we kind of talked about it already.
Sure.
I guess just kind of put a cap on that conversation. Just like, I really like the idea of having only certain sets in makes it more interesting for me, because I like the deck building aspect of it, and if like standard gets solved really quickly, wild gets solved really quickly, and granted, a rotated format would get solved pretty quickly as well, but if it rotates often enough, it's like new expansion cycle day every time it rotates.
Once a month, yeah.
Right, because
and then you actually get to play your old cards like Tar Creeper and stuff when Goro's in, and there's only 3 sets in. You actually get to play your old card.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I get to play Tar Creeper, guys. I miss Tar Creeper. Wholesome chunk.
Pod.
Dude, I think I have a winning card. It's still a good card. You play a Tar Creeper against a Pirate Rogue, they literally just they fold. Four-attack weapon can use nothing.
They're
against Tar
like,
Creeper,
wait,
bro.
what does this card do? Why does it have
man.
3 attack on my turn and only 1 on his? Huh?
Oh, 5 health, man, bro. They only got 4.
Why
attack
can't
on
I
their
target
own.
their face?
Me confused.
This is a bug. I'm gonna go to the Discord.
Blizzard, please fix.
Yeah, so you wanted to
I still love the
rotating mode.
suggestion. I don't know how it would work on the long end, but I love the idea of a monthly rotating thing. I feel like that would keep engagement really high.
I mean, they do similar things in Arena and Duels with like sets going in
Yeah.
and out, but
We gotta get Matt London
it
on
would
this.
just be a constructed mode where sets going in and out. But yeah, the collection to only like auto sort to those and having actually like enough people that want to play, like I don't know how I feel about it, but maybe
the
none
problem
of
is
that
you can't
stuff
do too many
matters.
old things, right? Because if you take a bunch of old stuff, you either have to allow
that don't
people
have
to
enough
have all of the
cards.
cards for free, or you just like exclude a huge portion of the player base who
Yeah.
weren't playing back then.
I think it'd be a
I
super
disagree.
niche people
I
playing.
disagree, because Duels has done
Their decks are half the
reasonably
size and
well.
stuff.
Keeping with like normally it's about half and half old stuff versus new stuff for the Duels pools. Because realistically, the cards now are more powerful than the cards of the past. So
Right.
yeah, you might have to go back and craft 1 or 2 epics, 1 or 2 legendaries, whatever, to make yourself viable. But realistically, I mean, there's a handful of cards from that era that are still going to be
That's
relevant.
true.
All right, rotating format. Still didn't get it. Jordan's number 3.
My 3 is friends list size increase. That's basically the number one thing I want in Hearthstone, but there's more to that I've made up my first and my second. But I've had to remove old high school friends. Like I removed Sean and Vaapad's fiance and basically everybody who doesn't play every single day because I just don't have room on this stupid friends list. It's crazy, right? I've had to remove high school friends, real life friends who aren't as active, friends I used to play like COD with, Overwatch with. 200 spots has to be shared across 3 regions and like 10 games. It's bonkers.
You came in hot, man.
I mean, it's
More-
a bit silly.
More
isn't
friends,
it?
more problems.
I currently have 198 friends, so I am
believe
currently below the cap.
Did you get your wish, or is it still 200?
No, it's still 200.
Did you kick me off the list yet?
No, you're still on there.
Let's go. I haven't logged on in 6 months.
I don't know what it was, but adding has slowed down. It's crazy that like I can't have.
I mean, you're just doing less now, right? You don't do Born to be Wild
Maybe
anymore.
yeah, I'm just doing
Yeah.
less, or I just have those people added now.
Yeah, that too.
But
A
like,
lot of the same circles.
and I was just so active on trimming. Like I just sat down and was like, okay, I'm gonna remove literally every person I can, and I'm just slowly filling back up. And every time you go to remove people, it gets harder. Like it's just like crazy. But yeah, I didn't get my wish. Still want the wish. Still probably not relevant to most players, but that is what it is. This was a personal wish list, and unlike my first one, I was at least a wish.
Number
Bynx is
2.
two.
All right, moving on up. Okay, so mine is also regarding wild changes. And again, I think that this is just a bandwidth issue. But I think that they have taken so long to do every wild change, it's like even worse than it used to be, which is Hearthstone overall. But what I've seen in Standard that I really like is that they're kind of doing these like fast and loose, kind of like small changes, little buffs here, little nerfs there, just kind of making things like flow in and out. I think that they just need faster, smaller wild changes. So just throw out a ban for someone and be okay with taking it back. Change something and be okay with changing it back really quickly.
Yeah, I think that so they didn't really do any like wild specific like minute changes, but I think that wild has benefited a lot this year from the fact that all of the strong powerful standard cards were also strong powerful wild cards. So
Sure.
like those micro adjustments to Theatar were like where it went from 4 to 5 and then from 5 to 6. I think that's kind of in the spirit of what you were saying is
Mm-hmm.
the small changes along the way so you're not overreacting to something.
And they have done lots of littler changes. I mean, one of the things you said in there was like change a card and be willing to change it back if it fails. Wasn't Kilthos revert this year?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I think they reverted Kilthos to be 6.
Wasn't that like March?
Yeah, I think so. They reverted Crab Rider, they reverted Kilthos, they reverted some cards. And Kilthos revert was a terrible idea. And then 2 weeks later, they re-nerfed it. And I was a fan of it because it's like, hey, you took a risk. At least you're own up to it and you fix it. You don't leave it in there forever. And then cards like Crab Rider that end up being fine get to stick around. And
Yeah, I think that's just so healthy. Just be able to be more flexible and okay with change. I think is something that would be universally liked from everyone in the Hearthstone community. I know it takes work and takes additional playtesting to do stuff like that, but I don't think anyone ever gets mad if you like mess something up and then you just quickly revert it back. Just wasn't there the joke they did like some duels reward or something, and like the patch notes literally just said sorry. Like some like they changed it back and they're just like my bad or like sorry. Like people love stuff like that. Like a huge like everyone was like joking like, oh, that's so funny. Like they get it. Like and stuff like that. I feel like it brings like humanizes, I guess, like the dev team and stuff like that is just good for Hearthstone as a whole.
Yeah, I think in the like making stuff busted and then like fixing it if it's busted, people agree. I don't know that a lot of people don't want cards changed generally. But I was a fan of the Kilthos revert because they fixed it quickly. If they didn't fix it quickly, I'd have been annoyed.
Yeah, and the Kel'Thas revert, it came back right before an expansion, so by the time the expansion came out,
was kind of dull. Yeah, you're doing
timing it. I think is important. I do totally agree that having it at the exact same day as an expansion can completely just flatten the experience and like from like super excited about stuff and then like 5 hours later you're like, well, I've played this deck 4 times in a row and I've gotten destroyed by it, so I'm gonna have to switch to it and I don't want to.
That's fair. Timing does matter for sure. At the end of a meta, it's a great thing to do. You just chuck a broken card at us. It makes me wonder when like the Kilthos thing happened. It's like, okay, so like all the cards they willingly chose not to revert. Do we think that those cards would have been more busted, or did they just miss on Kilthos? Like it makes me wonder. Like they specifically have said why they didn't revert Penflinger, and I get it because it would be a little too busted. But like, there's some other cards that I'm like, really? They didn't. Yeah. Do you guys know why they didn't revert? It would have been really funny if they reverted Penflinger. I get why they didn't, if you don't know why, but it's interesting to think of like, would that be stronger than Kilthos? No way, right?
I remember hearing why, but I don't remember what
the combo would have been Bolner, Mailbox Dancer, Penflinger. So every time you play Penflinger, you get a coin, which would allow animation cheating, which they don't want. And maybe, I don't even know if the animation's that slow. It might just be good enough. I think it's probably too slow. Actually, I don't know that it is. No, it probably is. Mailbox is slow, but yeah. So it's like, wait, is that stronger than like Kilthos?
Play your whole deck.
Like you didn't bring back First Day, you didn't bring back Hand of Adult. There's no way 1 extra health on Hand of Adult is stronger than Kilthos. So it's like, why do they not revert that card? But anyway, that's a different.
Oh man, they brought back two +2/+2 Hand of Adult and Crab Rider.
They didn't bring back +2/+2 hand. Oh, you think that'd be too strong? If
I think it would have broken
even
Paladin, man.
Yeah, I don't know. The 1 extra health
would have stormed through the meta.
I don't know about
1
that.
minute conviction. I think I'd say that's a partial hit for
Yeah,
Bynx.
it's a partial hit for Bynx. You got some
40%.
Yeah. My number 2. My number 2 is buff wild only cards.
Love that.
Yeah,
I love
I
buffs,
want that.
dude.
Yeah. I don't really care for nerfs, honestly, anymore. I don't really care for them, but like I love exactly what Bynx is talking about. Take some garbage card from 4 years ago, make it playable. It doesn't have to be broken, but like just like imagine current meta. On this episode last year, I made the joke that Free Shaman will never get any printed support anymore, like ever. And then they went and made like a whole expansion of it, like right before the end of the year.
Wish they would do that more, man. It would be so cool. There's so many kind of like cool, somewhat ideas for cards in the past that it's just like, but they made it like a 7-mana 3/3/3 or something, right? It's just like, okay, well, you just were terrified when you printed that card. It's a cool idea, but then no one ever touched it.
Right. My favorite example of that is Desert Obelisk. It's a cool concept on a terrible card that requires so much setup.
Well, isn't that part of what makes it fun, though?
It is.
I don't think you'd
We had
like
this.
to
We had this.
Obelisk if it was tier 1.
Yeah, we had this conversation last episode with Blue Train where if my favorite decks get buffed, I don't like them anymore because
Right.
then they're not hipster.
Like Ignite Mage is more fun that it's when it's worse. It's just a better
Yeah.
game for everybody, and it's like more fun that it's like harder to win with.
So I don't think we got any wild specific buffs, unless I'm mistaken.
Except for the reverts, but
Yeah, you got
Yeah,
reverse.
reverts are.
You
which is a great
kinda
thing that they
do.
started doing, and I hope
you
they keep
count
doing that
core,
and get
you
more
kinda
aggressive
do.
with it.
Some cards that are wild get brought to core and get buffed. Although
that's-
another anti-engine is sometimes they get added to core and get nerfed, which is kind of disappointing if you're a wild player because it's like sucks all the joy potentially out of cards going into standard. But
Has that happened yet? I don't think it has.
Yeah.
What?
Minecraft.
They did the
Cracker.
boar. You remember the boar thing that they did, where they were gonna
they
like just
instantly
replace
redid that,
boar?
though.
They did redo it. Yeah,
They
yeah.
did,
Yeah.
but that would have solved the problem with Switcheroo if they had done that preemptively. That's one of the things Andrew wouldn't have had to deal with Switcheroo for 2 weeks if they would have preemptively.
Switchers
left
suck,
everything.
dude.
So they had to
It's
ban
valid.
Switcheroo.
It's valid.
What I'm saying is, what's the card with Linecracker that gives you all the armor? The 1-mana card that's not 2 mana.
Earth and Scales.
Yeah, they
oh
added
yeah,
it to
that
core
did get
set,
nerfed.
and they nerfed
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah,
it can
okay.
happen. We could lose. We could even get wild cards nerfed because of core set. But you can also get them buffed.
No, that's a buff because of Skulking Geist.
Well, there you go. Yeah, but sometimes you get called the Aerodrake
Fate and
buffs,
Even
and you get
Druid.
Drain Soul buffs, and you
There
get.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so one thing, so I touched on at the end of that, talking about like how Murabi like got support because of Free Shaman or whatever, and I think so. My big thing, I'm happy they're bringing Reborn back as an evergreen mechanic, because I'm very tired of like these one expansion
Yeah,
mechanics
me
that
too.
they just never support, because it's like making mummies is a super fun quest, but there's like 6 reborn minions and you have to play 5 and several of them are terrible. So like that's the sort of thing, like why do we get one expansion of adapt or one expansion of a reborn or whatever it is? Why can't we just keep things evergreen and print one every now and again?
I think sometimes it's good because the more keywords you have, the more confusing it is to players. Which is why sometimes they do reprint old keywords. They just don't put the keyword on the card. They like explain the keyword because it's less keywords players have to know. But I certainly think there are some things that I like seeing back. Like Reborn should be evergreen because it's just like simple and like it's a different design tool. And like stuff like Colossus though, like you can make an argument that Colossus should be evergreen, but like I would be okay with them not. Like it's kind of opinion based. I think generally keywords not being expansion or being just expansion based is fine. Like I don't need to see more twin spell cards. I don't need to see more like overkill cards. They're okay. It's fine. It's just you can just write it on the card though.
But the line for me there is like if there's if there's a card that relies on that, so like making mummies for Reborn,
Sure.
or like Overlord Sarfang for Frenzy, or like stuff like that's like especially legendaries. It's like
Frenzy's meh.
I mean,
don't know
I
that that'll
really
be
like
evergreen.
I like Overlord Sarfang as a legendary. It's a cool card and it fits in a lot of warrior decks because it's slower. Like it fits in slower warrior.
I will
decks.
say if we get no more location cards ever, I'd be sad.
I think they have confirmed those are evergreen.
Like I think that's like one of the things that just stands out as like, yeah, that's just something we should keep doing.
Yeah, but the distinction there is it's not a keyword; it's a mechanic.
Right, which is why I'm like hopeful that we will get those more.
Yeah.
If that's confirmed already, that's great. Otherwise, it'll probably be on my wish list.
Yeah,
because I'm a big fan.
I think it's confirmed. You could probably find a tweet from XR or something saying it, but
I like them more than Death Knights. I will be okay if I never sign another hero card again if I get location cards.
I like hero cards. But
yeah, they're fine. I
that's
love my
just
hero
me.
cards. I just like locations a lot. I love playing a card when I just like. There's something so satisfying about like turn 3, you just play your location. It's like nothing happened, but like I didn't hear a power pass. You know, it's like
Value City.
And your
You got yourself
secrets,
a new
I don't care
hero
what
power.
that Christmas tree you got up there is. This card's getting played. Let's go. So that happens with hero cards too. Then.
Yeah, just wait though. Just wait. They're gonna print a mage secret that says destroy a location when it's played. And it's gonna be terrible. But
Let's see if I actually have a wish list now for this next one.
All right, we're going back to the friends list. I asked for it last year. It's friends list cross-region support. We got part of what I asked for. At the start of last year, I asked to be able to have Europe, Asia, America friends all online and be able to all see them playing. And you can do that now. But I'd also like to be able to spectate their games from whatever region I'm on, see them on the friends list playing. And I'd like to be able to challenge them to custom matches with my cards on my server instead of borrowing theirs. Essentially the same thing. Or instead of getting on EU and using my E cards. But I'd like to be able to like see them online, like actually online in Hearthstone, and be able to watch their games even if they're on a different server or region, and challenge them to friendly matches with my cards. I had to pay for the cards, but that's my number 2. Is to more social aspects in a way that like theoretically doesn't, like, you know, guild systems obviously like an insane ask, but like just like a little bit of social sprinkle to the friends
Swing and a
list.
miss.
Wait, didn't we get it? I thought we
No.
could challenge across regions though.
No.
No?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No, that's a swing and a miss.
I will say, at the end of it, you talk about a guild system, and I know it's super unrealistic, but that's be so cool.
That would be cool. XR talked about that. It's like one of the things we
You
could
could do like,
so we
I mean,
wanted.
like even just like Clash of Clans style, right? Just like
having a clan.
that'd be sick, dude. I would live for that. That's the social aspect that Hearthstone needs, because like if you're not active on Twitch and Twitter, you don't get the social aspect of Hearthstone.
True.
Like,
It's really
Yeah.
true.
That is a big problem. I do agree. The social aspects are just not there.
and it's like the number one reason I like the game. It's like, oh, would I rather play, you know, Pokemon, or would I rather play this? And like, I'd rather play this because I can go and talk to people and watch streams about it. And like, I can do that with Pokemon too, I guess. But like, the point is, it's just naturally more social as a game.
I'm gonna push on to these number ones.
Yeah, let's see what Bynx had to say for number 1.
Number 1 thing I want this year, another new class. Bring it up to 11. Maybe give me a
Death
monk.
Knight or Monk?
Maybe give me a Death Knight. Maybe just like make up something that's not even super prominent in WoW and like give it like a
Just
cool idea.
Make something up.
Yeah, figure it out.
Bynx doesn't this.
They got like 3 or 4 of these.
Yeah, dude, I even said Death Knight by name. But I guess everyone always said that there's gonna be a new
Yeah,
class. It's gonna be
so
Death Knight or
Death
Monk,
Knight or
right? But yeah,
Or
love,
making something up, apparently.
dude, that would be sick, dude. I feel like people
Yeah,
would pop
Diablo.
off if they like created like a new or like use it from some other like game. I feel like that would have popped even harder than Death Knight.
Let's have
But I guess
Minecraft
people
Steve
like
as a hero.
love Death Knight, dude. They have like that nostalgic hit of playing Wrath of the Lich King for the first time, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of the reason, and you can maybe speak to this, Spinks, I think part of what makes Marvel Snap so much more interesting to me than if it wasn't skinned with Marvel heroes is that it's IPs that I recognize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's cool to like see a character that you love, or like you watch the seasons kind of like coincide with the movie releases and stuff. Like this one's Wakanda Forever, and they released Black Panther, and Black Panther just came out, so it's kind of cool. Like especially if you're a Marvel fan, that the new cards tend to like coincide with the movies. So I definitely think that's something that's fun. But yeah, dude, can't miss, man. Another surefire hit. I feel like a lot of people weren't expecting one this year, but I felt like it was finally becoming time. I was pretty confident there was going to be one within like a year or two. And dude, I love what they're doing with Death Knight. The whole rune system seems really cool. It is going to make other classes, I feel like, seem a little lackluster because they're not going to have that level of like creativity in the classes. But that's obviously what they want with a new class, right? Is for it to be so exciting that everyone wants to play it.
Yeah, I hope that maybe that's something they maybe explore down the line for other classes, but it'd be so hard to backwards integrate it, I feel.
Retroactively, yeah.
You'd have to do something with spell schools or minion tribes, but yeah, it does seem tough. Or just add runes to every card. But yeah.
Well, not every card, right? Because not every Death Knight card has runes on it. Just a lot of them do. I think it's cool we're getting Death Knight for sure. And if the current pacing is anything to believe, the next one will be in 2024. Because it looks like it's every 2 years.
Martian Boo in shambles. He can't do 10 in his titles anymore because there's 11 classes now.
Yeah.
Such a worse number.
And that's something I brought up, I think, too, at some point. I was like, 11. I think in this episode, I brought it up that 11's a gross number, and we had to get to 12 as soon as possible. My number 1, I want more stats, which I am a nerd. I keep spreadsheets about games I like this board game over here, Twilight Imperium. I keep a spreadsheet about that. I used to keep a spreadsheet about Hearthstone when I had more time. Like,
So did I.
I just love being able to dive more into stats. I love Battlegrounds. My favorite thing about Battlegrounds is like looking at my stat page. I like seeing which heroes I played. I like seeing how much damage I've dealt. But I want in-depth stats of like, and I want it to be like shareable through the journal. Like, have everything that shows up on the journal be viewable. Like if you click on someone's profile, it's then becomes really easy. Oh, Jay has the second most rogue wins or whatever. Like have a leaderboard for that sort of stats. Have it be viewable on your friends list. And just have more stats in general. I really like the journal. I think it's a great addition. Just go further in that.
Absolutely swung and missed.
Nothing new in that department,
I
I'm guessing?
don't think so. Trying to think. I don't
No,
think there's anything new there. Like they added
the
the events
Battlegrounds
thing to the
comment didn't
journal.
age well.
They have like in-game events now, so that like the legendary quests aren't as like awkward, and there's like more to it than just having legendary quests. You got like the whole event button now. I don't think anything with stats, right? You have a new class with 0 wins, you can get that stat higher.
But yeah, I really want the in-depth stuff, and I doubt we'll ever get it. But like the more granular, the better, because I'm interested in that sort of stuff.
Real quick, I feel like the reason they don't do that is because can come off to the community as gatekeepy. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if like a community, people start looking at those stats and then get obsessed with those stats, people will then see the people posting their stats on like social media and stuff that are much better than theirs and then get discouraged to continue playing or like not feel like they want to share the game because they feel like they're not like good enough in some way. That would be like I feel like I guess the main reason why something like that's not there. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on like that side of it, or maybe why they haven't put any effort into it for so long.
No, I feel like, I mean, there's already some versions of that, right? Because like you've got prestige heroes, which is prohibitive. Like it takes just an absurd amount of time to get prestige heroes, right? That's, I mean, that's a
I don't
little
even know what that
gatekeep.
is. If I'm being honest.
That's the 1K hero portraits.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you've got like achievement points. People who achievement hunt, like they'll post that on Twitter. I mean, Legend in itself is already kind of that way. I don't know. I don't know that. I mean, you might be right. But I just don't know. I guess what's one more thing, one more way to compete. And I think actually that there's some merit to that because if someone can come to you and say, "Oh, well, I'm rank 1 legend," and this other person can say, "Well, I have the most warrior wins," or "I have like the most achievement points." And there's different ways to find validation in the game. Not that you should be getting your validation from a game anyways, but like there's ways to quantify your performance in the game, and it's more than just wins and losses.
What I will say is I often like to look at other games when questions like this come up, which is never perfect because this game is unique in a lot of ways. But a game that I frequently used to play in the past, but don't much anymore, is a game called Rocket League. Very fun game. You would be surprised the amount of in-game stats. It goes as deep as to like tell you how many turtle goals you have, which is goals scored when you're driving on the hood of your car. So like you're sliding on the hood. Like it's super specific. They have like backflip kick, like they have an unbelievable amount of stats. And similar to Andrew's point, like we already have a lot of stats now than compared to what we used to. And at the end of the day, like I think the best case argument that he has is like nobody cares. Like nobody's like I kind of get it. Like someone will post that they have 3K wins of all the classes, but then like it's like that doesn't really change anything, right? They don't really get anything for that. They just get to brag, I guess, but like it doesn't. I'm not sure as a new player that would really bother me because it's not like MMO where like your character's a stronger level when you have 3,000 wins, right? Like it doesn't actually matter at all. And you can even get to the point where like someone has so many wins of something, but yet they're so bad that it's like kind of funny. You see that in like MOBAs a lot where somebody will like play one character only and they'll have like an absurd amount of games and like mastery points in this hero and they're just garbage at the game. But it's like I think to answer Bynx's concerns, I think that's there's probably not a concern there. They're probably more just like trying to adhere to their UI principles of like being super clean and minimal and approachable. And so like there's a certain amount of clutter that doesn't make sense. But you already have like the button to the right to see the class wins. You could add another arrow to the right and show more stuff on that page at the very least to have more stats there. It's just like the thing with Hearthstone is like they have so many things they want to do and the devs genuinely care. That's one thing that I think makes Marvel Snap and Hearthstone both good is like their devs actually care about the product they're making and have tangible ways to improve it. But like with Hearthstone, they just have to prioritize. Like they can't do everything. They can't do everything they want all the time. And so like that's something I think that somebody probably wants or cares about. They just are doing other things. We've lost him. What's the protocol?
All right. Jordan's number 1.
My one is a friends list overhaul and improvements, which I've already mentioned 2 things I want, but I got a whole lot more here. Really on the friends list grind right now. So
He's a friendly dude.
some of the things I'd like, the ability to create sections to sort people by. So I'd like to be able to say, create like a folder essentially where it would just like be a line and it would say battlegrounds. And I'd be able to pull everybody in there. And so I could collapse this battleground section and open it up.
Like Discord.
And Wild THL, I could title it. And I could put all these people in here that I've added because of Wild THL and I could organize it that way. That's one thing I'd like.
Yeah.
Friends from COD, I could have in a folder. Or like just a vertical sorting. I think it'd also be very cool if I could sort it by rank. So I could say like I want to sort by Legend 1, a Wild Legend 1, and the numbers count up. And I could use all Wild Legend, their orders on my friends list. And as well as with Standard and Battlegrounds. Which also I'd like to be able to show my Battlegrounds or my Duels rating, Heroic Duels rating, on the top left. Like you show your Standard or your Wild rank. We have the technology. You have the little Battleground symbol with like the purple castle or whatever it is in the swords. Throw your number above there. It's 5 numbers. You can just play 6 with legend. Add battlegrounds there. Add duels there. And instead of just having that be an option and then having to figure out this algorithm of like what's higher, let us choose. Let us choose. And then if the journal thing exists that he mentioned, you can go check all their ranks. And then if you want to be intimidated or impressed, you can be. I would also like potential there's things other games have where you can like show a little bio message to instead of it saying like playing in wild mode, it could be haha tech W funny. You could just write something there and the other people could see it potentially.
Join my fantasy football league.
Right.
Demon Seed.
Yeah. You can put your at Twitter there, stuff like that. And you could shove a little message. I don't know if with the way they have it, where it's like one line, if that makes a whole lot of sense. You could do that. You could also have it where it's like you hover over, you click on them, and you can like write a note about them. You could like go back, and that's always referenceable. All sorts of these little things should just make the friends list better. I'm all for. Journal thing sounds great.
Yeah.
Click on their arrow, hit journal. You may even want it so it's like challenge and then like other stuff because the list is going to be so big at this point.
I forgot how much you cared about the friends list
Yeah, I don't
when
know
we
what's
talked
going on.
because
It's
I
like-
just remember like it was
What on
2
earth?
that was basically like otters. Otters
There's
should be
2
able to play
otters
girl, and
empathies
3
and then 3 friends list. What was I on about? I
We're
gotta
just talking about friends list.
put in more thought this time. I don't even know that I care about half of those things. I asked for.
Yeah, now you're just sitting there like I don't care about my friends list.
I did
at
get
all.
the. Did
I'm
I
about
ask for
it.
the ranks to show for other modes in that rand at the end there? I
You
thought I
did,
did.
yeah.
Yeah, we got that. Shows your
Oh,
battlegrounds
really?
ranks now.
It shows you all of them, not just like the last one they played or whatever it is.
Well, it'll show
It still
what
does
they're
the- still does
playing,
the highest,
but it used to
though.
only show the highest. Now it'll show what they're currently playing, or it'll also show
Oh, does it?
battlegrounds. Yeah, like if I queue
thought it was the
standard
highest.
and I'm queuing standard, it'll show my standard rank even if my wild's higher. If I'm playing
Didn't know
battlegrounds, it'll show my battlegrounds. And before you couldn't even see battlegrounds, right? Like I don't think
You could.
You could
Yeah, it
before
was
then?
whichever one was higher, or maybe that. I don't
I think maybe they may have added that, but I wasn't listening to
Maybe.
my rant close enough. I was befuddled by like why I cared about the folders thing. I wouldn't use that. Who cares? What?
I would. That sounds sweet.
I don't know.
I also forgot about how much I hated Demon Seed at the time that we recorded because I hated Demon Seed a lot at the time that we recorded, dude. I
Had
it
I
been
was
banned
so
yet?
tilted by that card.
Had it
No,
been
it
banned yet?
hadn't been banned. It was like right before it got banned, I believe.
Wow.
I had done like my legend run, and I just like I played. I think I played Odd Pirate Warrior. I played this stupid deck to legend. And I just like bashed my head against it, but like the only deck that like was in auto lose pretty much is just Demon Seed. And it's just,
That'll
I
get you
just
to
hated
quit.
the deck.
Odd Pirate Warrior. Who would play something like that?
Do you play that now, dude? It's fire, man. I got to legend with it. It was a ton of fun.
Yeah, I played that.
With
going back.
Renethal? Ooh.
Oh yeah, Renethal and Theatar. All right, we hit the end of the recaps.
Yeah, that's
Bynx was the most successful.
he also just had the best takes, so that checks out. You just wish for the
I'm a
things
good-
that make the
I'm a
most
good
sense.
take guy.
To spend time
I'm a
on.
good take guy. Yeah, wish for things that
Ours
made
were
sense.
so
That's kinda what you
niche,
had to do.
and some of them aged poorly. Like I don't even care half of those things.
Dude, the Renethal one to start off was so funny.
That
It's
is
so
so-
perfect. Like they need to add a card that like promotes value, and it's like 4 months later, Renethal comes.
Much to many aggro noobs' chagrin. Well, thank you so much for coming back, Bynx.
Mhm.
I know you're not super into Hearthstone now anymore, but it's always good to see an old friend.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, I still try and I watch some Hearthstone videos. I pop my head into Hearthstone streams and stuff. I watch I'm definitely a Jordan MG enjoyer, and then anytime he pops something in, I make sure to catch it. But yeah, man, always happy to come back and give my opinion, even though I don't really play the game much anymore. It's a lot of fun hanging out with both of you.
Congrats on all your Marvel Snap success.
Thanks.
Good year for you. I think,
Yeah.
to be honest, I think I may have had 60 subs in January too, along when you did, right? We've both
Lots.
grown exponentially. You just much more. But that's
Yeah,
okay.
it's good stuff, man. It's fun. So I feel like you kind of found your niche of what you've been focusing on, and it helped you grow a lot. And I found a new game that just got really lucky to pop. It's all just about putting yourself in a position to take advantage of a lucky break, right? Because like you kind of make your own
Yeah.
luck, and you do have to still get lucky, but it's all about putting yourself in a position to take
Yes.
advantage of that, which is the most important thing.
Yeah, I was afraid you were going to sell yourself short of there. I think the way you enjoyed Hearthstone, like, matched way better with Marvel Snap as a game. Like, making homebrews is worthless in Hearthstone. Like, why bother, right? Like, who cares?
I do.
But, like, in Marvel Snap, you, like, have to make homebrews because you can't, like, buy all the cards. You, like, earn them slower, and there's, like, tiered card type things, and you, like, get them over
Mhm.
time. So, you have to make these, like, decks with like weird versions of
Suboptimal.
cards for people at all these
Yeah.
different like collection levels. So I think the way
Yeah.
you played
Yeah.
and the way you made content fit the game much better. And
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
think that like having that life and stuff has helped a lot. Like I think you're just more entertaining now that you're playing this game and making content for this game because it's like rewarding
more
what you're doing
entertained.
More of
instead
a
of just like
match.
spinning at like
Yeah.
same thing everyone else is doing type of thing. Yeah, I think it's just a lot better of a relationship for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate
working
that.
out
I think
well.
it's I think it's cool stuff, and and I guess I'll plug myself at the end if you don't mind. But yeah,
Yeah, go
if
for
anyone
it.
does enjoy Marvel Snap and wants to check me out on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, you can catch me out at Bynx BYNX_plays if you want to catch any of my stuff. But I appreciate all the kind words, and always happy to come and hang out with y'all and continue to do cool stuff like this because like I said, man, I love the Wild Hearthstone community. I still follow so many people in the Wild Hearthstone community on Twitter, so many people on YouTube, so many people on Twitch still consume that kind of content, and it's a really truly special place and a special community in my heart, and it'll always be that way no matter what game that I'm actually like currently playing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that we have a very tight-knit community that transcends what game we're actually playing, which is really neat.
Some degree, yeah.
All right, friends. Well, that is all the time we have. Thank you for sticking with the podcast for another year. It's hard to believe that we started this in 2020. This is our second full wish list, and we'll have our third one coming next year.
Wish list review.
So stay tuned for that. Without further ado, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
I forgot to do at the beginning. I was going to do an intro where it's like, welcome to the last episode of the People Champ podcast. I forgot to do that. I was going to do that.